You know, I really you. Goodbye. Cut him off. I don't understand people like this that call into the show asking me what is wrong with Palin. Why is she getting so much heat? She's a good Christian woman. Well, okay, what's wrong with Palin? Let's look at her experience. Vice President of the United States. She was elected as Alaska's governor like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Her previous office was mayor of this small town, Wasilla, which is right outside Anchorage. She has no foreign policy experience. But she wants to have interviews. She wants to sit there and say, oh, I can see Russia from my house. Well, no. That's not foreign policy. Oh, well, you know, they want to rear their heads and fly their planes into America. Well, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? Alaska. You dumb bitch. Seriously. Just don't open your mouth. Where are they going to go? The terrorists want to rear their heads and fly their warplanes into America. Where are they going to go? Well, Alaska. Oh. I can see Russia from my house. Yeah, well, your house? Your house? Yeah, that's money that you, it was built with the supplies, the doors and windows from the sports stadium with government money that you authorized to build. Your stolen property. Your house. I mean, really, how, what, I mean, that's just on, you know, her previous experience alone. Why are people still, after everything that we're able to see and hear from her, why are people calling in and wasting my time with this crap? Let's just settle it. If you don't like the fact that I think Palin is a bitch, then don't listen to my show. Turn on the stuff that you want to hear. Go turn on Sean Hannity. Go turn on Psycho, Pill-Poppin' Rush Limbaugh. Go listen to the stuff that will appease you. Go listen to your conservative garbage. But for those of you that like facts and want to vote as educated citizens in our country, then you will listen to my show, which I'm thankful that you do. I mean, this woman is unbelievable to me. She is strongly anti-choice. She opposes abortion even in the case of rape or incest. Now, anyone who's listened to me for any period of time knows that personally, I do not condone abortion, except in issues of rape, incest, danger to the woman's health. That's personally. However, it is not my position, nor is it anyone else's position, to tell another human being what they are to do or not do with their bodies. That is their choice, and it should be respected. Just as I respect my choices in life to be respected. I expect that. I should be able to make my own choices, and so should everyone else. I don't have to agree with it. But just because I don't agree with it does not mean that that would be the way I would vote to influence the rest of the country. It should be a woman's choice, whether you agree with it or not. Every individual should have the right to say, yes, I want to have an abortion, or no, I do not approve and I will not have an abortion. It should be an option. Palin supported the right-wing extremist Pat Buchanan for president in 2000. She thinks creationism should be taught in public schools. She thinks the whole Adam and Eve story should be part of education to prepare students to live responsible, educated lives as adults in our country. Excuse me, but the philosophies and teachings of the Bible should be taught in church. Don't pray in my school, and I won't think in your church. Separation of church and state. You're not supposed to go to church and think about what you're being told. You're going to church based on faith. You have faith that what you're being taught is truth. You have faith in your religion. You are not supposed to analyze, decipher, and question it. You are supposed to have faith in your religion. In school, that is the forum for questioning the facts, for looking and analyzing history. Creationism is not part of that. The facts are evolution exists. You want to go back 40,000 years and look up and see fossils from what a human being looked like? You think they look anything like we do today? Similar, but no. Facts are facts, and that's what should be taught in a public forum, a public school, public education. Climate change is a big issue. She doesn't think that humans have anything to do with climate change. She thinks that millions and millions of people around our world can contribute to the amount of pollution that we have, and that does not affect our planet. She is right up there in the front of the line with McCain on his oil policy, this big oil first energy policy, which is a bunch of crap, because we all know that we need an alternative method to sustain ourselves, because paying $4 a gallon to fill up your car is not it should not be a necessity, it should be an option. There should be an alternative fuel. It's common sense. We have the technology to do it. Why aren't we doing it? McCain met Sarah Palin once at a meeting, and then he spoke with her a second time when he called her about being vice president, and then he offered her the position. He doesn't know her. He doesn't have a long-term relationship with her, a long-term professional relationship. He doesn't know. He does not know anything about her, which he soon found out, didn't he? The only reason I believe that he chose Sarah Palin as VP is because she was a woman, and he wanted to get all the Hillary votes, because the Hillary supporters were pissed because Barack Obama president. Her appearance on this morning show, it was called Shock Jock Radio. It's up in Anchorage. It was one of the most unprofessional, childish, inexcusable performances I have ever witnessed from a politician. These DJs were sitting there calling one of her colleagues a cancer. By the way, this woman that they were speaking of actually had cancer. She's a cancer survivor. They called this woman a cancer. They called her a bitch. And Palin sat there and just laughed. Instead of saying, hey, that's not very nice, let's stick to the facts. I'm a political figure, let's be professional. She sat there and laughed. I mean, this woman will sit there and gun down wolves from an airplane. She took a highly unnecessary risk with the health of her child, her own flesh and blood. She flew, I believe it was from Dallas, up to Anchorage, which is like an 8-hour flight, and she was in the late stages of her pregnancy. That's very dangerous. She does it, but she didn't care. All that mattered to her was going back to Anchorage. Her baby didn't matter. What if there were complications what if she was on the plane and she went into labor? What if there were complications? Well, you're 35,000 feet up in the air. What are you going to do? This woman doesn't think clearly. She has this twisted backwards. I don't know if it's being, in Alaska or what the deal is. I mean, no offense to anyone in Alaska. We love you guys and thank you for listening. But I mean, what is? I'm trying to be fair about it and understand her line of thinking, to make logic of her thinking. And right now she's under investigation for allegedly abusing her power as governor to help her sister in a very messy divorce. We all heard about that. She lied about her plans for the bridge to nowhere. She got up there at the Nazi convention, the Republican National Convention. She got up there on stage and said, oh, and they tried to tell me about the bridge to nowhere, and I said, thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. And all those brainless, uneducated morons in that building stood up and applauded this woman. Thanks. She supported the bridge to nowhere. She wore the T-shirt that had the zip code of the town at the event for the bridge to nowhere. It was only after Congress said, "Excuse me, I don't think so," where she said, "Thanks, but no thanks." I mean, what a misguided, flat-out lie on how she's trying to portray the history of events with this bridge. This is a lot of money that we're talking about, that she was requesting for the construction of this bridge. Lots of money. And she thinks that we're living in this world. Maybe she still thinks, I mean, she did think humans and dinosaurs, coexisted together. So maybe she thinks that we're still living in those times where you can't go back and look up the information. Well, there's a paper trail, sunshine. Yeah, you can. You can go back and look up and see where you screwed up. She supported the bridge to nowhere until they pulled her funding. And then the whole thanks but no thanks crap came along, and she's acting like that's how she was maintaining her position the entire time. She maintained the opposite position until she had no choice. I mean, she has these huge money ties to Senator Ted Stevens, who's been indicted for political corruption. She exploits her son's service in Iraq for political gain. During her time as mayor, she drove the town very deep into debt. This woman tried to ban certain books that she didn't agree with from a public library. So much for freedom of speech, huh? So much for free press, huh? Trying to ban books from a public library? Why are you suppressing people? It is 2009. What are you doing? She turned around and slashed a lot of funding for teen moms, which I think is highly ironic. She thinks the war in Iraq is a freaking task from God. And most importantly, she failed miserably at running a car wash. And ladies and gentlemen, that are at least 20 reasons why I can tell you that Palin is a joke. And I'm not understanding how I'm still getting phone calls asking me, why do you think she's a joke? What's wrong with Palin? I'm a mindless conservative Republican. See, this is what always gets me about Republicans, is they'll spew their talking points that they hear on Fox News, but as soon as you start asking them questions about their talking points, they crumble. They watch the stuff on TV, they take in exactly what they're told from their talking heads on television that are appeasing their whole Republican agenda. They're taking what they hear, and they believe it as fact because, oh, that person has an R next to their name. It must be the truth. But then, as an educated American, you stop and you ask, what are you talking about? And their eyes get really big, like a deer about to get hit by a car. Deer in headlights. Eyes get really big. Mouth kind of drops open a little bit. Little drool starts coming out to the side, and they just stare at you. And you can tell at that exact moment, they're thinking about the coverage on Fox News, trying to remember an answer to my question. But the facts are, if you question today's times, if you question Republican philosophy, it crumbles. Republicans are nothing but a pack of dogs following one after the other. All I hear is like Big Elephant Dumbo music when I see Republicans. It's just follow the leader. Don't think for yourself. Follow the leader. Let's ban books from the library. Let's not look at facts. Just listen to what I'm telling you. And people buy it. People buy it. They listen to it. They believe it. They vote for it. And if the past 8 years of this country under the Bush administration have not given each and every person in this country a punch in the face. As you're wiping your blood off your face, you'll go and vote Republican again. The past 8 years, this country has spiraled out of control, downhill. We were attacked on 9/11. We were lied to about a war that has put this country into phenomenal debt. Things are not any safer now than they were before 9/11. We're in a major recession, and people are still questioning the Republican philosophy, the Republican line of thinking. When Obama said it's time for change, he said it all. Obama is not going to be able to fix every problem this country has, but it's time to start doing things different. And I'm thankful that we have somebody in office now that's doing it different. Because the past 8 years aren't working. Past 8 years in this country have taken us into a deep, dark hole. We are in debt to a communist nation, China. Unemployment is at an all-time high. Families are losing their homes. What more do you people need to say, hey, wait a second? Maybe the Republican Party isn't as pure and the way to go, as Palin puts it, as I always thought it was. And then I love the phone calls where they say, well, I would vote for Obama, but I don't want my taxes to go up. Well, who's keeping your taxes down? Because under a Republican administration, you only receive tax breaks if you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Low income, middle income, no tax breaks. It's only for the rich. Democrats, Obama says if you make under $200,000 a year, your taxes will not go up. Now, how much more, how can this be put in simpler terms for you? Listen very carefully. If you make under $200,000 a year, your taxes will not go up. And frankly, if you make over $200,000 a year, you should be paying more in taxes. Not me, not middle-class America. It's hard enough to support ourselves. But if you're making over $200,000 a year, then you better shell out a little more in taxes for your contribution as a citizen in this country.